Today, I'm talking to Dervoy from Toronto, Canada. He's an only child who grew up in a working-class family, and he himself is nearing retirement as an educator or teacher. Now he has to take care of his frail parents, his elderly father and mother. In fact, the world is indeed dealing with an aging population. But as the average lifespan increases, we are now seeing the toll of aging parents on their children, who in turn can be recognized as the aging caregivers. And Dervoy is here to talk about this challenging aspect of his life. So join us in our conversation, and let's look for the solution together. Welcome to the program, Dervoy. I'd like to know a little about your background.
I went to elementary school here, went to high school here, went to a few universities here, a college in the States, different teachers' college.
So you've been a teacher of sorts for how many years now?
So I've been a full-time teacher for 21 years, but I've had my teacher's license for about 26, 27 years.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You've helped to mold the minds of many young people.
I hope so. I mean, now that I'm a guidance counselor now, not a classroom teacher, I get a chance to see students in a different light. I'm not necessarily teaching them, subject matter.
Right.
But I am sometimes fulfilling the role of a parent or a confidant, an adult, a father, depending on what the situation calls for. And that's pretty rewarding.
How about your personal life?
I'm married with 2 children. I have parents here who are not very well.
How old are your parents?
So my father is 83 and my mother is 79.
Getting on.
Getting on.
What's your challenge now? What's your situation?
So my father suffered a stroke when he was 61 years old. And for the next 21 years, he's been semi-paralyzed. And now the problem is that up until very recently, he was able to at least get up and then walk with a stick.
Right.
But he doesn't have the power to get up now. So he's basically bedridden. And so now that's a huge problem for my mom and myself because we're not sure. We've got him home now. We're social care workers coming into the house, but it's a work in progress.
How about the mobility of your mother? Is she still able to get around? Is she still
she's got a genetic disorder, degeneration of the spine, where you bend over and you end up locked in a bent position after a while. So she has this quite debilitating condition. So it's very difficult for her to take care of him. And
you're the only child?
I'm the only child, yeah.
So in many ways, you're trying to help when it comes to looking after your children while you have your family. Is that correct?
Yes.
Must be a challenge.
It is a challenge. One thing I struggle with, Brother Donald, is the absence of certainty. When I'm looking at, taking care of my parents or taking care of my children, what I fall back on is kind of an innate feeling that I'm doing what's right. But without, in my case, religion to fall back on, I see, for example, with my other colleagues who are religious or part of some of your parishioners, that they have a certain a confidence, a certainty when they're dealing with things, and I don't have that to fall back on.
Your efforts, Dervoy, they're commendable.
Thank you.
Considering that you have a family, you still have your career, and at the same time, you're trying to look after your parents. In fact, what you're doing is very much like what's written in the Bible. And in fact, we can read here in Ephesians 6 in the verses 2, and it states this: "Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise." When it comes to your labor and sacrifices, you're really showing honor, or we can use a synonym, respect, when it comes to your mother and father. Sad to say, there are so many people nowadays, once their parents become, debilitated, they'd rather stick them in the nursing home right away. But you yourself, you're trying to hold off from that situation or that course of action. And through all these years, you've been trying to help them and support them. Please notice that the Bible clearly teaches that this is a commandment of God that when we fulfill, there is a promise. Well, let's read here in the book of Exodus, and the chapter is 20, and the verse is 12. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God is giving you. So meaning to say, for those who are able to show that sincere love, that respect when it comes to their parents, God has a promise for them. All the more, He's going to bless those kinds of children. And I believe in different ways you've been blessed in your life because you have sincere care. You have not shirked your responsibility when it comes to looking after your parents.
I feel there's a compulsion of some kind to do the best that I can for them and for my children.
You still have that compulsion and that urge and that desire to look after your parents. I mean, that's really commendable, Daravoy. It's really commendable. And in many ways, you're just trying to show to your parents that you really appreciate all their efforts and all their sacrifices and labors for you.
Yes.
You're a good example when it comes to one who is prepared to make those sacrifices in order to look after their aging parents.
It's comforting to know that the wisdom that comes from the Bible is correlating to my actions in my life, even though I haven't necessarily been guided explicitly by the teachings of the Bible.
Mm-hmm. So maybe that's a quantum of solace for you to understand that what you're doing is really a good thing.
Yes.
But let's talk about reality. Time comes by, and just like myself and many other people, they have to go through that experience of when the parents, they finish their course, and we're kind of left there.
Mm-hmm.
My parents, they passed away years ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so we can say it's a part of life, but the inevitability is,
that it will happen sooner or later.
Yeah, so, how would you prepare?
Even though I'm in my mid-50s, I haven't really lost anyone that close. So I really don't have anything to go by in terms of preparing me for the loss of a parent. I don't know how that's going to look like.
Yeah, when it does happen, though, there's some consoling words of the Holy Bible that I'd like to read for you. It's written here in Psalms 27, and the verse is 10. My father and mother may abandon me, but the Lord will take care of me. So when the time does come, there is the Lord our God. He's the one who's going to take care of us. That's why when it comes to us members of the Church of Christ, we have that consolation that, when our parents finish their course of life here on earth, still we can place our hope and our trust in God. He'll help us to bear that period of bereavement that can last for many years, with a sense that He's there to be our support, to give us that leg up, to give us that ability to go on with life. But like I said, when it comes to the members of the church, we do place our hope and our trust in God. And the reason how, or the reason why we do that. Allow me to read Psalm 62, and the verses are 5 to 8. I depend on God alone. I put my hope in Him. He alone protects and saves me. He is my defender, and I shall never be defeated. My salvation and honor depend on God. He is my strong protector. He is my shelter. Trust in God at all times, my people. Tell Him all your troubles, for He is our refuge. For us members of the Church of Christ, God to us is our protector, He's our defender, He's our deliverer. He gives us comfort in those difficult times in our life. He gives us the physical as well as the spiritual or inner strength. And most especially, as the Bible teaches, God is my salvation. That's why we believe that God has a salvation awaiting us at the appointed time. So that's why we are inviting you. Whenever you get the opportunity, of course, there's no compulsion whatsoever, but we do invite you to, come to our worship service, spend time with us, the members of the Church of Christ.
Even though I'm not a member of the church currently, let's say, I've been welcomed here, and you've taught me that what I'm doing regarding my parents and how I'm conducting my life, for the most part, is in the right direction, or that I'm kind of on the right path. I know that you have it, and it's a source of strength, and we can all use a source of strength in our time of need.
And the greatest strength that we have comes from above, comes from our Almighty God. Well, we are hoping that you benefited from this program
Absolutely.
today.
It was a great pleasure to be here with you today.
Yeah, and we wish you the very best, and the same when it comes to your parents.
Thank you, Brother Donald.
Thank you so very much. Thanks for joining our conversation today on The Solution. I'm Brother Donald Pinnock, and we hope to see you next time.